Hey everybody, before the show starts, I want to let you know that next Wednesday, March 27th at 7 p.m., the News and Observer is conducting a food panel at the North Carolina Museum of History. Title of the panel, What's on the Menu for Triangle Restaurants? The panel, which consists of yours truly, Max Trujillo, is also rounded out with Chef Chidi Kumar, chef and owner of Garland in Raleigh, Roberto Copa Matos, previous guest of the NC F&B and chef owner of Copa in Durham, and Drew Jackson, the News and Observer's very own food reporter, who's always on the breaking news of all the food beat. So join us. You can get tickets at Eventbrite or in the show notes of this podcast. Head over to our social medias for the links, and we look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast, coming to you from the Kitchen Studios, located high atop the historic Raleigh building, located in the heart of downtown Raleigh. The NC F&B Podcast takes you behind the scenes of North Carolina's food and beverage industry. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCFBPod. This episode is sponsored in part by Food Scene. That's foodseen.com. Providing professional photography, social media management, video production, and website design. That's Food Scene. And now, the sommeliers to the stars, the barbacks in your backyard. It is Max and Matt.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss. And boy, the energy is high today.
Oh, it's live.
Yeah, it makes me feel like doing more and being better. And speaking of that, enabling that statements, those sentiments, is the CEO of Mati Energy Drink, Mr. Eric Masters.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Yeah, welcome.
For everyone that can't see him right now, he's literally bouncing off of the ceiling and the walls right now because that's what the CEO of an energy drink company would be doing at this point.
I did see you bopping to our podcast theme song.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you were into it.
A lot of energy, a lot of passion.
Yeah, I bet.
Everyone's bopping to that theme song. Come on, man. It's the jam.
Seriously, though, Eric, you... Let's just set it off right here. Have an extensive background in beverage. You were an executive at Coca-Cola. You were integral into launching Dasani and Fanta.
Don't you want to?
Max really wanted to get that in there. Let's just jump in really quick right there. Tell us, what your position was with Coca-Cola and kind of what you were doing there.
Yeah, I spent 10 years at Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I moved down there from Philadelphia, so I'm a Philly kid who has
moved
south of the
This
Mason-Dixon
interview is
line.
going to end right now.
I had to get that in because he's got a New York Mets hat on.
Giant signed Golden Tate away from you guys last night.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
We could turn this whole podcast into a Eagles-Giants debate, and it would be a lot of fun right now.
All I know is Antonio Brown is an Oakland Raider.
That's
Just
true.
win, baby.
Yep. So moved down to Atlanta, though, to get into marketing at Coca-Cola. And as you referenced, a couple of the more interesting roles that I had was, number one, relaunching Fanta back into the United States.
Right.
So some folks might remember that for a while it had left the U.S. and was focused on Minute Maid Orange and Minute Maid Cherry and the like. And I actually went out to Southern California and spent 2 years out there working in marketing and brand management and helped relaunch Fanta back into the U.S. Obviously, out there you have a tremendous Latino culture and a lot of people that are coming up from Mexico and other places where it was really considered part of their culture and part of their homeland. And so we started out there in SoCal and then rolled it out across the rest of the U.S.
That makes sense because living there, I saw Fanta was everywhere at some point. It was nowhere and then everywhere.
Yep.
It's what's going on here? Why is Fanta so big now? But there you go. It was your fault.
It was. And then back in Atlanta, back in headquarters, I had the chance to run Dasani for 3 years for Coke North America. So it had actually already been launched, but we were just getting into another ramp up and scaling period.
Okay.
So it was a really dynamic time working not only with the brand and how we were positioning it and how we were marketing it, but also working with the bottling system about how do we really start to get out there in the market and get into case packs and get into other channels and all these other different types of things.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that later with the new project you're working on, Mati, but I imagine that's where you started to get somewhat in the health segment with Dasani, because I always found that interesting, Max. I don't know about you, but there's no secret about the fact that Dasani is bottled and, I guess, produced, you would say, by Coca-Cola.
Correct.
Which I always thought ironic.
Yeah, no, and it is it's local water.
Okay.
So that they're very open about that as well. And what is done is that, number one, it's
well, hold on. Local water, wherever you get your water, it's going to be local to that spot. But this is an international brand.
as opposed to a Deer Park, which might get bottled from a spring somewhere and shipped around, type of thing. Dasani is made at the local bottlers. So in each region, in each area.
It's local to where it is made.
Correct.
But it is made all over the world.
That is correct.
So it has multiple space. Okay, so just like Budweiser is made in Japan and made in California, it's local. They're taking the local sources from that region to make. Okay, that makes
sense.
Yeah.
And so then what's done with Dasani is it's purified through a reverse osmosis process, which totally cleans everything in the water, and then it actually has minerals added for taste. So it was actually formulated for the American taste palate.
Where do you put the mind control in?
That's
in the fluoride?
It's in the commercials.
Yeah, that's
I just
the marketing
listened
aspect.
to a friend of mine said I had to listen to the Alex Jones episode on Joe Rogan.
Okay.
It's 4.5 hours long.
Jeez.
I'm at minute 80, and he's already gone into how we have aliens living amongst us that we have bred with pig human embryos.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that's crazy.
Excellent.
But I'm like all in the conspiracy theory headroom right now after listening to Joe Rogan and Alex Jones talk about the most insane things. So anything's plausible at this point.
Yeah, which is why you had to personal note. You had to go see your barber yesterday because he is a known conspiracy theorist.
He's the one that told me to listen to the podcast.
Makes
You
all
made
sense.
good connection, Matt.
Yeah,
we love you, Mick. You're awesome.
and your hair looks good today, even though I can't see that in Pod World.
Previous guest of the show, Carter Crane from the Food Bank. He and I share the same barber. We both know each other because Mick cuts our hair. Huh. That's why he looked so dapper when he came in.
Wow. No wonder why. Yeah, I was going to say that guy's hair looked good.
Great things happen at the barbershop.
Yeah, seriously.
So can we get in? I want to get into water. One more question about water. Yeah. This is a product that was free for eternity. And then like in 87, let's call it. I'm just throwing a random, I'd say that's probably a good starting point. Someone said, oh, the water's bad coming out of the taps. Buy it in bottle and pay us for it. I remember being alive for the transition of there was once never water for sale, and then now there's water for sale. And then it basically became a stigma of you don't drink out of the tap. That's bad water. You got to get it from here. I still drink from the tap all the time. But how did that industry just snowball? Was it like fear mongering to make people so scared of water?
I think it was actually in the U.S. as much a convenience and health play, right? And you had so many consumers out there drinking other beverages on the go or in their car or things like that, and the opportunity to have something healthy and hydrating was, bottled water was really one of the first kind of widely distributed products to help do that. There were juices, obviously, but once again, juices, were more expensive, more difficult. They're a hot fill process versus a cold fill process, harder to get in a vending machine.
Plus
or some
high
other
sugar
places.
content.
High sugar content. So
what's funny too is we didn't have like water bottles themselves are ubiquitous. Everybody owns like 10 water bottles that to
refill.
Yep. That's just a generic thing now, but
back then it wasn't.
We didn't have water bottles.
Right.
But what would have stopped us to just refill a water bottle from the tap? I'm saying I think the narrative was that the water coming out of the tap wasn't clean. That like we needed clean water. Evian was all about this is clean French Alps.
I was just going to say because from my perspective and having the opportunity to travel to Europe as a young kid, which was like early to mid 80s or right around that time, it wasn't so much of like, oh, you needed that, but Evian was thought of as a luxury product, luxury brand, and this was better. It tastes better, so get that. And then I think that filtered back into the U.S. And then also a lot of families travel to Mexico for vacation, and you don't drink the water in Mexico, so you have to get bottled water, and then you're just kind of in the mode of drinking bottled water, and then you bring that back home.
And then you combine that with the soccer moms who are trying to figure out what they're taking to the game.
Right.
type of thing. And hey, let's get a case pack of bottled water because we don't want to bring, sodas to the game.
Yeah.
And Eric, we're very PC these days, so it could be soccer dads.
It could be.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, that's some hot
But
water
no,
talk.
that is good beverage talk, and is a perfect segue into what is beverage now and the healthier alternative that is mate. So give us your elevator pitch of get to swing us into mate drinks.
Yeah, so mate is it's a pretty incredible beverage, and what we say is that it is the cleanest label, simplest ingredient, all natural energy drink out there.
It is.
It literally has just 3 ingredients.
Yeah,
in
carbonated water, brewed organic Guayusa. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
It was close. That was your New York accent.
Exactly.
Huge.
In this one, organic apple juice concentrate, organic orange juice concentrate, organic lime juice concentrate, and then the stuff we'll talk about later, natural flavors.
Yep. So basically, the three ingredients: brewed Guayusa, which is we can talk more about, but it's like the tea of the Amazon. Mm-hmm. Organic fruit juices and carbonated water, and that's it. No sweeteners, no cane sugar, no stevia, no additives or anything.
Yeah.
And the energy and the impact, the effect from the Guayusa is pretty remarkable. So we can talk some more about that as well. But it's truly a unique product.
Before we get into it, let's just take a quick break and hear from Jen Hoverstadt over at Forest Firm before we get deep into mate.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has legal questions, especially in the food and beverage industry. So that's why we've provided Jen and the Forest Firm to help us out. And if you follow us on Instagram at NCFB Pod, we'll put out a post weekly from Forest Firm and ask a question. It might be the question that we ask Jen on the show.
If I am looking to start my own business in the F&B world and I don't even know where to begin, do I just hire you sort of on retainer and then your suite of services is available to me, or is it sort of more an a la carte situation?
So I would say if you have a business idea and you don't even know where to start, go ahead and talk to us. Mm-hmm. One of our specialties is getting a business up and going. So that might be as simple as getting you that single member LLC that you need just to get the business started, giving you a checklist of, who else you need to hire. You need to get your CPA. You need to get perhaps a bookkeeper, other people in place in order to make sure you're moving your business forward. Then from there, we can continue to work on other things as they come up. But it really is as simple as like, hey, I want to start a business. Can you help me get the legal side of it up and running? And that's exactly what we'll do, because there is some of that that back end work just to establish the business. And then, of course, as other things happen and fall into place, your lease, your employees, maintaining the business as it continues to grow and move forward, we'll continue to partner with you at every step of the way.
Okay, so if you're thinking about starting a business, call Jen Hoverstadt at Forest Firm, and she'll get the ball rolling.
It makes
Absolutely.
sense. To learn more about the Forest Firm and what they can do for you, click the link in our show notes or visit forestfirm.com/NCFB to request a free consultation for your business. You can also reach them at 877-669-1455. Forest Firm, business attorneys across North Carolina.
All right, and we're back. One thing that we need to reference before we get deep into mate, as I said earlier, is why are we talking about this on a North Carolina food and beverage podcast? Because it was generated out of Duke, right?
That's right.
And I'm going to not say her last name correct, but Tatiana Bergeson? Bjergsen. There we go. Now, she was a student at Duke and created this then, correct?
Yep. Remarkable young lady.
Yeah. Will you walk us through a little bit right there, just so we kind of have a point of reference of why it's important to the North Carolina fabric, and then we can talk about how it goes from there.
Yeah. So Tatiana, interestingly, she's from Iceland, but was a student over at Duke, and very, very open, showing how strong she is about, she was battling depression and trying to find something that would just give her some good energy to kind of go through the day and, complete her studies and be able to achieve what she wanted while they were in school. And, she cared about what she put in her body was not going to go out and drink some of the traditional energy drinks that are out there, and started experimenting in her dorm room. And, tested things like yerba mate, things like guarana, some of the black teas, green teas, other different things like that. And then she discovered Guayusa from Ecuador, and it turned out that she had a winner. And so she started brewing it for herself and then for her friends. And then people said, hey, you should start selling that. And so they sold it out of her dorm room. Yeah. And then they said, well, you should really get it into bottles or cans, and kind of move from there. And off and away she was.
And was this like was this what she was going to school for? I mean, was she doing like...
She was focused on entrepreneurship. Actually met her husband Jake in an entrepreneurship class.
Oh, okay.
There at Duke. So it kind of did tie in, but I don't think she went into Duke thinking, hey, I'm going to start an energy drink in my dorm room. But, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, she wasn't doing like the science like we were talking about, like with beer studies or whatever.
Yeah, or food chemistry or something like that.
Yeah, that wasn't her skill. Okay. No.
You know what I love about that story? I can't help, Max, if you remember the Facts of Life episode with Alex P. Keaton, where he's like super struggling in school.
Wait. Facts of Life was not with Alex.
Sorry, Family Ties. Family Ties. I always get Family Ties, and he's in school and he's just overwhelmed. I think he's doing a double major or something like that, and he starts taking amphetamine and starts getting strung out.
This was a very special episode.
It was a very special episode, but I do imagine that people, especially in an academic or any stressful environment, especially like Duke, where there's high quality academics, can easily turn to an alternative that might not be as natural.
Listen, I remember, I'm probably going to date myself here, but I remember drinking 2 liters of Jolt.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Jolt Cola.
Jolt was crazy.
Oh, my God.
Double the caffeine, twice the sugar.
Right.
Like, wait, what?
Beautiful. and they like stuck their chest out with that.
Yeah, they led with that.
Yeah.
I remember, actually, not that long ago, my boss at a company I worked at when we were selling wine, he graduated from a very esteemed university. He graduated from Cornell. And I go, wow, man, that's a great university. He goes, dude, if it wasn't for Adderall, I never would have graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And Cornell has the highest suicide rate of any university in the country.
Well, yeah, that's sad. And so, but that's telling, right? I mean,
totally.
About the drug epidemic and the need and all. It's funny, Matt and I were having a discussion about what this podcast, where we might go with this particular show with you, Eric, and talking about mate and energy drinks in the market. And one of the observations I was thinking, and I'd love to get your perspective, is I wonder if this is more of an American market as it is maybe converse to a global market in sales-wise, meaning the need for it. I just jumped ahead and thought, this feels very American, like American to be energy drinks, because we're always like, go, 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 go. You're shaking your head.
I'm shaking my head no. It's actually, I think, has tremendous international application. And in fact, we were just out at one of the largest organic natural trade shows in the world out in Anaheim last week, and had multiple folks approaching us. One person who wants to bring it over to Paris, somebody who wants to bring it over to the Middle East, somebody who wants to bring it over to Asia, because to them, drinking a tea is already part of their culture.
Right.
And, essentially, as the tea of the Amazon, we, in America, call it an energy drink. Over there, we might call it something else, but the taste profile, the refreshment, and the energy and the benefits that it provides, spot on.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, coffee is like a huge world interest.
I think it is the number one consumed beverage in the world, coffee.
Yeah. Coffee is like such a huge draw internationally in every culture. Someone's drinking copious amounts of coffee, and I have to think it's not because of the taste solely. I think it's for the effect, right? I mean, that's what most people are probably drinking the coffee for, is to put a little charge in their system.
And one of the things that we're working to educate consumers about, that not all caffeine is created equal.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So the caffeine that you get in coffee is going to create a much different effect than the caffeine and the energy that you get in mate. Because in mate, in addition to the natural caffeine in the Guayusa leaf, you also have theobromine, which acts as a slow-release agent for the caffeine. So you don't get a spike, you don't get jittery, you don't get a crash. It's just a nice, steady amount of energy that you get from drinking it. And it also has L-theanine in it, which is when they talk about a calm, relaxing cup of tea, that is the L-theanine that actually helps with your mental focus, right? So all of that, in addition to having antioxidants and the like, are all packed in mate.
Yeah.
So it's much different how your body absorbs it and the reactions that people have versus a cup of coffee.
Yeah, because traditionally caffeine from coffee can affect your nervous system in some way, right?
That's right.
But you're claiming that theobromine and the Guayusa does not affect your nervous system.
It's just a different. It gets ingested and reacted to differently. So I tell folks, truthfully, that my mom, nice 75-year-old woman outside of Philadelphia, never drank coffee because she was worried that it made her jittery and didn't like how she felt. She drinks tropical pineapple and cherry now all the time. And
I have to imagine, though, that is not your target demographic for Mati. Being a marketing and sales guy,
let's start with seniors.
That's right.
And work out from there.
We can really get some major distribution in the senior citizens' homes. No, but
right.
I want to get into that a little bit because I think it's fascinating, especially your background and now you coming on as CEO. How long have you been the CEO? When did you come on?
So interestingly, I was an investor in Mati back in 2016. I had met Tatiana, was introduced to her, and knowing a thing or two about the beverage industry, I said, wow, this is a really pretty amazing opportunity. And as I said, she was a pretty amazing woman, is a pretty amazing woman. And I came on board as a CEO in July of 2018, last year.
Okay, so it'll be a year coming up. Yeah. And I do want to talk about that transition, but right now I also want to talk about, just from the impression, and maybe you're going to tell me I'm completely wrong, but Max and I were talking about, we have to imagine that your major competitive set is Red Bull, Monster Energy, the Mountain Dew and AMPs.
Rockstar.
Yeah, Rockstar, thank you. Yeah. Well, I know you're going to tell me that this is a healthy alternative, but it's still the alternative to those.
So what's interesting is that yes, it is an alternative, but also in who we target, and to your point, the consumers that we are appealing to, we are not necessarily trying to convert those drinkers to come over to Mati.
Okay.
Because the taste profile is so different. If people are typically drinking that, they are looking for something, whether it's taurine, whether it's whatever the case might be, that we're not going to go put in our products.
Okay.
Because we are so clean label and simple and organic in nature. So really, what we find is that we're converting folks who either might be picking up a coffee in the afternoon, or maybe drinking a diet soda or a regular soda, or another type of tea type beverage, or maybe they're picking up a juice or any other type of thing. But we are actually not trying to convert your prototypical 19-year-old who's slamming
extreme
a Red Bull
sports things,
type
a Red
of thing.
Bull, yeah.
It's not
so what
our
you're saying
thing.
is you don't want any of that money that's in that energy drink market at all. Just leave it on the shelf.
I've been misquoted.
I don't want to touch it. I don't want to be near it.
The senator from North Carolina has twisted my words.
That's not the first time that's happened.
But
marketing-wise, in a grocery store, in a convenience store, wherever it is, we're going to put Mati, the guy that runs the place is going to put Mati next to Red Bull.
Well, interestingly, so this is something we're working through right now. So in the natural channel, in places like Whole Foods, in places like Fresh Market and the like, it's very straightforward where we go, right? In places like Harris Teeter, we actually think that we're better off not next to the Red Bulls. We think that we are better off in that section that they usually have near the pharmacy, where they have the RX bars and the Kind bars and the Muscle Milk and all those types of things, because that's where our consumer is, right? They're not walking down the energy aisle to go, well, let me see if there's something better than Red Bull, Monster, Venom, or AMP today.
Yeah.
Right? That's not where they're going.
Well, so
right?
like Matt and I are not that guy. We both said we don't drink Red Bulls and Monster. I mean, Matt's very conscious of the stuff he puts in his body. His body is a temple.
Not sure about that right now, but yeah.
Mine's more of like a convenience store.
But a high-end convenience store.
Yeah, like a nice one,
What's the Green Monkey over there on...
What'd you just call me? But like, I mean, and I do care a little bit about what I put in my body, but I've always rejected the energy drink kind of category with Red Bull and all that, because it just tastes so artificial. It's just... I mean, in the end, I like sugar, I like caffeine, I like, the amped up drinks. I'll drink Mountain Dew. I think it's delicious. But there's certain things I just won't go with. And so I guess, I would be more of your target market in the sense that I'm not looking for a Red Bull, but it wouldn't be bad to have a nice upper throughout the day.
Afternoon pick-me-up.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly the occasion that we are trying to go own right now, is that afternoon pick-me-up. And so we've actually made... the at-work occasion one of our key focal points.
Okay.
Right. And so we're actually working with some distributors and folks. There's a company called Canteen that manages a lot of the marketplaces and cafeterias at work type of thing to make sure that we can be in distribution and we can be in front of those consumers at that time.
So, like, instead of the water cooler, you have the mate cooler right where everyone gathers around for afternoon?
I would be very happy.
You can use that marketing campaign. I'll only charge you a small consultation fee.
Thank you.
So, yeah, let's talk about the marketing. How that's a really interesting point in talking to your distributors, but also your people who are your retailers who are displaying it and where to display. What's some of the other things to get that message out to the average consumer? I guess how do you do that?
So at this point right now we do a lot of sampling, and
Okay.
we're involved with a lot of both in-store type sampling as well as events and other things like that. So
Sure.
we were involved with Hopscotch last year down here in Raleigh, which was a lot of fun, and we're getting involved. I think there's a yoga fest coming up that we're going to be sampling at as well. We also do a lot of sampling on college campuses and the like.
Okay.
And then we take advantage of digital media, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, a great way to be able to target the right people and get in front of them with, the right messages and the like. So we're very active on Instagram and Facebook and the like, trying to both educate people and build relationships with them.
And right now you're distributed just in the Southeast, or how far is your network?
No, so actually we there's a difference, I tell people, between where we're distributed and where we really have penetration.
Yeah.
Right. So from a distribution standpoint, there are places that you can get us all the way up in Pennsylvania, even New England.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise,
and the
how
like.
would your mom get her
Exactly.
afternoon pick-me-up?
And even in Texas and the like. But our penetration and really where we have some scale is in the Southeast at this point.
Okay.
But that's going to be expanding this year and as we move forward.
And you have let's give you a little plug. If somebody who owns a retail shop or is involved, how would they find your product? Are you through? Do you self-distribute? Or
No, we work with a number of distributors locally.
Okay.
And they can always just get in touch with us at come to our website, drinkmati.com.
Okay.
And we can get them in touch with the right folks. Or we also do have a wholesale program where we can ship to folks directly if none of the food and beverage distributors or natural distributors, whatever, that are calling on them.
And that's Mati, M-A-T-I, just for those of you listening out there. Your production facility you call a brewery,
Yes.
right? Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the production, because it's fruit juice is the main sweetener in it, and
The
only sweetener, and we talked about the other ingredients. Before we do that, let's talk about one other place that you probably should be distributed at, the Triangle Wine Company.
That would make sense. Yeah, Triangle Wine Company, or trianglewineco.com online, is a great sponsor of the show for well over a year now. Good guys.
We love Chris and Glenn.
Yeah, and they have 3 locations. The 4th is supposedly open. It's always the joke. We never know when Holly Springs is about to open, but that's Matt's neck of the woods. He's dying for that place to open.
Please.
So hopefully by the time this episode airs, it's open. But
I actually did text with Chris last week, and I said, what's going on? He said that the police chief went on vacation before he signed some document that needed to get open. So please, Police Chief of Holly Springs, sign the document.
maybe Triangle Wine Company needs Forest Firm in some weird snake eating its own tail to get everything going. But
and it might take some Mati to help them do that.
Keep the energy, yeah.
So maybe it's not distributed yet at Triangle Wine Co., but maybe we can work on that. But other than getting Mati, you can get wine, you can get beer. They actually have a tap and a pouring station, or a bar, if you will, at all the locations, so you can sit down and enjoy, have a good time. And they're usually located in spots where there's a lot of commerce anyway, so it's convenient and easy to get to. So go to trianglewineco.com, use the promo code NCFB to receive 10% off all of your purchases because of us. And say thank you when you do that. And, pour a little bit out on the ground every time you do it. That's for Matt and Max. And don't really do that. That's
find
wasteful.
us and
That's
actually
wasteful.
pour it for us.
Yeah, pour it in our mouths. But thank you. And, yeah, let's get back into Mati.
Yeah. So we were talking about the production of it, the brewery. Yeah. Where is the brewery located?
It's in Clayton.
In Clayton. Okay.
Just east of Raleigh.
Okay. And so talk to us a little about the process of the Guayusa plant, and then what types of water you're using and how that occurs.
Yep. So if we call it a brewery because we do craft brew, and if you walked in there and didn't know any better, you might think that you were in a beer facility. which would probably make you happy.
Yeah. Beer makes a lot of people happy.
It does. So so we get the Guayusa from Ecuador. It gets, shipped up on a long, slow boat.
And that's organically grown.
It is organically grown, and our supplier actually, Waikana, was just up for some awards at this conference that I was just at for kind of their sustainable ecosystem and the support that they're giving to the local farmers and economy and everything down there in Ecuador. So it's great from that perspective. And they specially cultivate and prepare the Guayusa for us. We get it. It goes into a huge, brew vat, and we have some special filtration type of systems that we use, and it's the purified water.
Okay.
That then goes in as well. Once we
Is that reverse osmosis?
It might be.
Okay.
It might be. And then once we brew the Guayusa, then it has to cool, right, and the like. But then from there, it's just a process of getting it into the tanks where the fruit juices are added and the carbonation is added.
And how do you do that? Just by injecting CO2 bubbles into a tank?
Yeah. Yep.
It's like the Charmant method, like Prosecco.
Yeah.
Yep. And then from there, it goes down the canning line, gets put into the cans that you see, and then it goes through a tunnel pasteurizer, which then helps it with the 1-year shelf life stability.
Gotcha.
So that it doesn't have to be refrigerated for the whole time.
All right. So the one thing that I'll have to press you on is there's a big thing about natural flavors.
Yep.
From my understanding, and this is way back from I think home ec class, but that the FDA actually has no definition for natural in terms of food.
Well, the FDA has a definition, but I think it is rather broad. And the joke that goes around the industry is that beaver buttocks could be a natural flavor.
Sure.
Because it comes off a beaver.
If there was a demographic for that.
That's right. That's right. Now, fortunately, none of that is in Mati.
Okay, good.
Beaver buttock free.
Yeah, that could be our
hashtag.
Our slogan. Yes.
BBF.
Yes, we'll put that on the Beavis and Butthead retro cast, and we'll be perfect. So our natural flavors are, in essence, just very, very concentrated fruit juice.
Okay.
That is really boiled down to that level.
Gotcha.
Type of thing, but there's nothing beyond that really, or nothing overly exciting in the product.
And I will say, in some of your high, so just looking at the ingredients, and for those of you that do watch your sugar intake, the 90-calorie one, which has 52% fruit juice, has 18 grams of sugar per can. The 20%, which is 40 calories, has 7 grams per sugar. And then the new one, the 0-calorie, has zero sugar and less than 1% fruit juice.
That's right.
Yeah, So
and I'm drinking that right now, the raspberry mint, and not to make it sound like a commercial, but this is actually really delicious.
Yeah.
I think it might be my favorite one of them all because it's interesting. And that's what I like. I like to be challenged by my palate as often as possible. I think that's what people that like wine so much tend to go, why Matt and I don't drink Maomi Pinot Noir. It's like we made fun of it on last week's episode, but it's just so broad and syrupy, and it's not what we want our Pinot to taste like. But so you try something like this, and it's like, oh yeah, it's got the raspberry, but it's not unctuous, it's not heavy. It's got the mint, it's subtle, it's in the back, but it's just more quenching and unique. It doesn't taste like anything I've tried before, which then
kind of tastes like a mojito. A raspberry mojito.
That's where I was going. I said it kind of makes me want to throw some liquor into it because that's where my brain goes real fast. But I bet you could make some serious cocktails with this. I mean, maybe Mati isn't endorsing to make cocktails, but why not?
Well,
it's a beverage.
Absolutely. And listen, at Hopscotch last year, we did a tie-in with a vodka company, and had a mixology tent going on, and so absolutely.
Well, the whole reason that vodka soda is such a popular cocktail is because of the healthy people wanting something to imbibe on.
That's right.
Yeah. A lot of bros with their Oakleys on get the Tito's and soda, bro.
Yeah. So I'll
can't get those carbs, man. I'm crossfitting.
Yeah.
Just give me a Tito's soda.
Which in North Carolina you would order a social house.
That's right. Social soda.
A social Monty.
A social Monty. Yeah.
So that's a little connector there too, because Mark Mullins, formerly of Social House, is now a driving force on the sales front of Mati. Am I right by saying that?
That's right. I actually also was helped out with Social House, so I knew Carrie and I knew G, and was advising them pre-launch.
Yeah.
Okay.
On that through my friendship with Mark, who kind of introduced me to them. And as you guys know, Social House grew to a point where it didn't need Mark on kind of a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Type of thing, and then they've got some other kind of sales initiatives going on. So he came over to Mati, and now he's running sales for us, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, we're talking about all this like transition stuff. I would like to know. I mean, what is the story? Why is Tatiana no longer the CEO of the brand, and how did you come on? What was that story?
Yeah. So as I said, she's a remarkable woman.
Yeah.
Started it in her dorm room and grew it, over $1 million in sales, which is, right there puts it in a very small echelon of beverages that ever get to that point.
Sure.
And then, just got to a point which is not uncommon where the board really just was looking and needed somebody who could run it more as a company.
Sure.
As opposed to just, an entrepreneur. And in those conversations, she decided that, okay, she was going to step aside. Mm-hmm. And what's nice is that she and I still have a friendship.
Yeah.
And we stay in touch. We were texting back and forth actually from the conference in LA last week.
Oh, good.
And, and as I tell folks, my job is to help her baby grow up. Right. And I consider myself kind of the caretaker now to kind of help it, navigate through some of the complexities of consumer products and beverages and 3-tier distribution systems and all those different types of things to help this incredible product and brand reach the market.
Is Mati a publicly traded company?
No. We are venture funded.
Okay.
Idea Fund, based out of Durham, is one of our backers. Also, the Carolina Angel Network, the Duke Angel Network,
right,
have both backed
and
us. And
those are those people that sit on aforementioned board.
There are representatives from those folks. Yes,
understood. Gotcha. What does Mati mean?
It's just a play actually on Tatiana's name.
Okay.
And so I think it was, it's a great example of a name that doesn't mean anything, but we can now make it stand for something.
Yeah.
And so that's the fun that we get to have.
Yeah, when I heard tea at the end and then you taste it, you're like, oh yeah, it's like tea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mati. I get it.
That's it.
But that's
like
not it.
Mati, like Tatiana is tea and it's her tea.
Yeah, so we actually just did a really neat little thing on, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cameo. It's a online kind of...
like an alternative to Vimeo and YouTube?
And you can get celebrities to kind of step up. And so we have a really creative, innovative digital guy who reached out to Ice-T.
Okay.
And he did a little spot saying, I'm Ice-T. This is Mati.
Nice.
It's cold. And it's fantastic. It's really clever. So I wanted to touch back on something that you were talking about with the taste profile, though, and I want to connect it to wine.
Yeah.
So if you're ready for that.
I'm ready.
So one of the things that's remarkable about Guayusa, so, a lot of times people will say, so Mati, is it mate? Is it like a yerba mate?
Right.
Oh, right.
And we say, no, there's actually a ton of difference. So not only does it have more antioxidants, it also has more caffeine, but most importantly, for what you were just talking about, it has far less tannin than yerba mate, right? And so I tell people, hey, I like tannin in my red wines, but I don't need it in my teas.
Yeah,
right?
you can have really tannic tea, and I think that's not necessarily the most pleasurable of tastes. But people are trying to figure out what we mean by that. It's the kind of the velvety flavor, the furriness that your tongue senses when you have a really tough, a really tannic wine or tea.
Well, not the velvety, but more like the astringent part.
Yeah, it's that
puckering. Yeah.
It's so it can be great. It's that grip, if you will, in wine that is so desirable, like in a big bold Cabernet or something. But yeah, in a soft drink, you're like, I don't need to get all.
That's
deep
not what
into it.
people want from a refreshment standpoint, right? And that's why when you're drinking wine, you're not going through a bottle, just drinking it. From the bottle, you're enjoying it with food.
Who's not doing that?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the way we do it.
It's in a glass.
Get a straw. Get a straw.
Yeah.
But because of that, because the Guayusa has far less tannin, and with the way that we craft brew it, it's what allows us to then not add any sugars, any stevia, or any sweeteners, and still have a great tasting product. So it's kind of the magic of the Guayusa and the craft brewed process that helps us get there to then make that claim that says, hey, we are the cleanest label, the simplest ingredients, and we taste great.
Yeah. And I also have to say, again, this is kind of sounding like a shameless plug, but I feel good. I've had probably the equivalent of a can. I feel good. I feel focused. I feel energetic. Not to be cliche-ish, but yeah.
I'm all about all this stuff now. Like I've been taking CBD oil a bunch recently. Having teas like this. Like I drink a ton of coffee, and I should probably drink less coffee.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's probably not great for the kidneys and the liver or whatever. But I still I want to be energetic and charged up. And podcasting, man, it's a struggle to get through every single day. I gotta keep myself popping. But it's good. It's a great alternative. I'm having the lemon ginger right now, which is also the 0 calorie.
That's right.
No sugar, or 7 grams of sugar, I think it is. But I mean, it's virtually no sugar in there. And
No, that one has 0.
Yeah, that one has
zero.
That's zero.
0 cal, 0 carbs, 0
right.
sugars, nothing.
yeah, which is funny to me. I'm actually gravitating more towards the zero carb calorie one.
It's cleaner, bro.
In general, which is totally different than what I would normally go with, but they're delicious. This lemon ginger, I mean, yeah, that's calling for some bourbon in there right now.
Ooh.
Like give me that like
I'm game.
yeah, or you could do like rum in there, make kind of like a dark and stormy, like a rum mule or something to that level. That'd be good.
The cherry, I can say from personal experience, goes extremely well with bourbon.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like the flexibility of this because the other thing that like people with energy drinks or who are really into green teas and stuff, a lot of times they'll be like, no, this is better than coffee. You don't need coffee. But we're not. It doesn't feel like you're saying that. It feels like still have your morning coffee. I still need my morning coffee, but this is an afternoon alternative to not having the coffee.
Whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And
then at night you put it in your adult beverage.
There you go.
And it's really flexible.
And listen, we also tell folks, there are a lot of people who will talk to us and a lot of consumers that say, yeah, I have one either before or after I go work out. That's fantastic.
Right.
We don't position ourselves as an athletic performance drink, right? Because if somebody wants to pick up a C4 or somebody wants to pick up, a Bang that has all these supplements and creatine and all these other types of things, there are things out there that, are specifically made to help you work out.
Sure.
To get yoked, bro.
Right. But if you're just looking for, some refreshing energy before or after, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, what about kids?
So my kids drink it, and
how
no
old are they?
problem, 16 and 13.
Okay, so that's
And-
older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Max was asking more about young kids, like under 10.
My daughter's 6 and 9. You probably aren't giving these type of beverages to your children.
You know what? If you're letting them drink a Coke, this is probably better for them than
better.
that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not going to get them jacked up, so to speak. There's, if you would let your kid drink juice and you would let them drink tea,
This is definitely a better alternative to
then
juice.
this is it.
I was just thinking.
Charlotte just drinks espresso every morning, so that's
fine. Yeah,
she's like, Dad, I want a cortado today.
Today sounds like a macchiato. I have to say, I don't think. I mean, my son's 2.5, so I wouldn't give him this. Plus, he doesn't need any more caffeine than he has.
Yeah.
But I do think that, and I see this, I have to say I observe this a lot in the, let's say, urban communities, that people are drinking such high sugary drinks, the iced teas, the sweetened Arizonas that are just loaded with sugar, bad for your digestion, bad for your health, bad for your teeth, just not good. And I would much rather see them drink these.
Yeah, and we're trying to work also about how we can be available in and around schools as appropriate, right? Because once again, schools right now, a lot of them have contracts with either Coca-Cola or PepsiCo, right? But once again, if it's my kid, I'd much rather they have one of these than, a corn, or corn syrup
High
based
fructose corn syrup.
drink.
What's going on in North Carolina where Pepsi's from here?
Right.
Coca-Cola's
Atlanta.
from Atlanta, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, but they always try to claim something about North Carolina too. I don't know what it is.
They have a great bottler based out of Charlotte.
That's what it is.
That's been here forever.
Okay. But like, what's going on in North Carolina with all these like beverages coming out? That's kind of interesting. That's always been like a precursor. It's always been a standard that like big beverages come out of this state.
Cheerwine, another
Cheer
local.
wine. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, and Dublin Vineyards out there, I didn't realize how enormous they were. I think they are like I read somewhere, I could be completely making this up, that they're somewhere in like top 5 distribution of all wineries or something like that.
Wow.
But obviously, they make a ton of sweet wine, but and I'm not here to talk about qualitatively what they're producing, but just sales-wise.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get our research department on that. And also, I want our research department, I'm guessing just off the top, and maybe, Eric, you could speak to this, but the number one consumed beverage in the world has to be a close call between coffee and beer, I would say.
Yeah, I think coffee is number one.
Coffee is number one.
I believe.
Okay. You heard it from the CEO.
Yeah. I'm working on that, though.
Okay. Anything that you need to know about events coming up?
Well, locally, if you have an event that you think would be nice for us to come and provide some product, once again, come to drinkmati.com and let us know about that.
Yeah.
Retail, you can find us in the Whole Foods and Fresh Markets and other places. We also have a couple of flavors in Harris Teeter, or you can once again get it on the website or on Amazon. The other thing that we are starting to work through as well is that as an all-natural organic energy drink, we went through and really kind of said, all right, what's our company mission and what's our purpose and what do we want to stand for? And as we kind of worked through that, we said, you know what, we want to help people achieve their natural potential. Right? We're not like a Red Bull giving you wings.
Right.
We're not trying to make you into a rock star. We're not trying to get you to do something that's, not you, so to speak. But we just know that, listen, everyday people who want to do good things and want to be either, great at work or a great dad or a friend or want to be studying for a secondary degree or have to go run their kid to the soccer game or anything, that, people need some energy to go do that.
Yeah.
And that we're here to help them. And, as we kind of work through how we bring that idea of achieving your natural potential to life, we're also looking into some different cause marketing platforms and some things that you'll start hearing about, like one with Dress for Success, which is a great organization that helps young women, or actually all age women, I should say, get back up on their feet and get out there and be independent in life. And then also Habitat for Humanity is another one that we're going to be working with soon. So, we're definitely starting to try and get out there and help kind of walk the talk, as it were. And, we're all about achieving that potential and helping people to do that.
Essentially what Eric said is, if you don't want to be a bad parent, drink Monty.
Yes,
this is basically what you meant to say.
Once again, the senator from North Carolina
I
should be reprimanded.
I think we have our closing music with the I am everyday people.
Oh, now we're going to have to pay Sly and Family Stone
or the version of it from, isn't there a version from, what's the hip-hop group that was like late 90s?
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is a great place to go out because, the drink is working. I'm feeling a buzz. I'm feeling good, but not too crazy. This is going to ride out for the rest of the day. It's not going to be like Super Crashville. By the way, yesterday when I was editing, I had a long night because I saw Elton John the night before, and he played all through the evening. It was awesome. But I was super exhausted. Had all this coffee in the beginning of the day, and then I just crashed at about 3 o'clock. I had a meeting at 5:30. And I had this like hour and a half, 2 hours to like do nothing. So I just went into the back office of the kitchen where we have a couch and just fell asleep. And the best part about that is I'm a snorer, by the way. And I got into such a deep sleep that I started snoring really loud. And we have a new intern working at the kitchen. Her first day was yesterday. She's typing something on the computer and just hears me in the background. And she looks at one of the guys in the office and says, I think there's a man in the back. I was a man. There's a man in the back room snoring. And he's like, yeah, that's Max. He had a long night. So
having
maybe
to have to share a room with you many times, I can attest to the snoring.
To the snore.
Yeah.
But with some Mati, maybe no afternoon crash. Maybe I just can kind of mellow out and chill. Have a long day, a long productive work day.
Yeah.
That is the idea.
Eric, thank you so much for being here. It'll be interesting to see how Mati grows, bottled and produced in Clayton, North Carolina. So that's a cool thing, and see how you guys grow on a national and international level. So
fantastic.
Go eat lunch today after you listen to this, and then when you start to feel that afternoon crash, have a Mati, and you will eat and drink very merrily.
All day long.
Thanks for listening to the NC F&B podcast. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.